Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to DreamHack Atlanta and welcome to Championship Sunday. We are in the top 8 and we are going to find a grand champion today. We cannot wait for it. I am so excited. I'm your host, Wavepunk. I've got a Lawler and a Cheeves and a Fickle with me here. Guys, it's been 3 days and we're about to crown a champion. It's so exciting. I can't wait.
2 days of fantastic Rocket League and it's only going to get better. We woke up every morning with like, this is all the teams that are here? And then we got rid of a bunch and then we're like, these are the teams that are still here? And it just kept happening.
Day 3. Absolutely nuts. I mean, we had 17 teams, 17 teams that were absolutely out of their minds, bonkers, so good, and we've managed somehow to get down to 8.
I mean, I think Kronovi stated in an interview before DreamHack even happened, this is probably the hardest tournament, even harder to win than RLCS with the competition that's been out here. Not only was it just 8 teams in the top 8 that are really fantastic, yesterday was top 16, and all those teams could have made it to Sunday.
Yeah, I think when you go and you look at RLCS, you look at the land for that, there's 8 teams that are coming, or it moved up to 10 with Sydney, or with Australia joining in, but you can study those teams. You know what to expect. You've been watching those teams for a season. In a tournament like this, anybody can show up and anybody can surprise. When you said it, we had 17 teams that could possibly make it into our top 8. And a huge surprise here in the top 8. Ambition, the underdog, is in here. We'll get to see them more later. But guys, yesterday, some exciting matches, some fantastic Rocket League happened. Bunch of teams surprising. The big question for me was, will G2 perform? And they did not disappoint.
You want to talk about the first match of the day. We talked about how to start it off right with a reverse sweep coming up from G2 over Rogue. We were talking about how Rogue is clearly the number 2 in North America because NRG has been so strong. And G2 is trying to bring themselves back into that spot. They've had a lot of inconsistency, but not here. This weekend has been all G2.
Yeah, we actually got to see all 3 of G2's matches yesterday on stream out of their group, which was with, I've got it here, Envious, Rogue, and Set to Destroy.
Pool of death, man.
As well.
Pool of death.
So yeah, really the pool of death for sure. And they've actually performed quite admirably along the stats as well. They're within the top 3 in both categories in offense and defense.
Yeah, so many upsets happening yesterday. Set to Destroy actually came in 3rd in that group, would you believe it or not, knocking out Rogue. So it was just not their day, but that pool of death, Envious and G2 making it through. Other teams, we can take a look at the bracket. What we've got in store for you today, we're going to start things off with NRG versus the Muffin Men, and then Flipside Tactics will take on G2 Esports, a rematch of the Season 1 Grand Finals. Can't wait to see that one. Gale Force Esports will take on Mocket in the European Showdown, and then to round out our quarterfinals, Envious and Ambition Esports will be going head-to-head. Those quarterfinals, as you can see, best of 5s. Then from the semifinals on, it'll be best of 7. Single elimination. Every single match means you're in the money, and if you win, you move on and you get more. If you lose, you're done for the day. So we've done our 2 double eliminations. We're pretty certain we've got the top 8 teams here. This is going to be single elim from now on.
Yeah, really cool stuff as well. We're guaranteed to have a North American team in the top 4. And Achieves, I know you have one of the coolest stats for everybody back at home. Hit them with it.
So Flipside Tactics, across all of their major lands, they've won $94,000.
Wow.
If they manage to beat G2, they'll advance to the semifinals, and they will be the first team to make $100,000 just from LAN environments.
That's
crazy.
quite a bit
Crazy.
there. I love that Rocket League's getting to the point where we can talk about 6 figures in prize winnings per team. But the first match, guys, we're going to be dealing with NRG. Arguably the favorites to win the whole thing have been since they won the X Games, going up against the Muffin Men. Fantastic squad that barely missed out on league play last year, and they'll be trying to get their first big win under their belt here at DreamHack Atlanta. Guys, one of my favorite things about this match is we are guaranteed an NA team in the top 4 because both these teams are from North America.
Yeah, NRG has been easily most feared from everybody across the board. They haven't lost a single game yet in the entire tournament. Obviously, scrims and stuff, otherwise they've dropped a couple. But when it comes down to when it matters the most, they have not dropped a single one. And they are easily, everybody, when they're like, yo, you might have to play NRG later, and they're just like, do I have to? Like, I don't want to.
Right, the surprising match for me yesterday was NRG versus Mocket, which they completely steamrolled over them and did not drop a single game, and even a single game in the entire tournament. They are looking by far the best team out in the field today.
Yeah, I think you brought it up. NRG undefeated here at DreamHack, have not dropped a single game the entire tournament on stream or off stream. And to me, when we talk about NRG versus the Muffin Men, I believe we would all say that NRG is the favorite to win this match, and Muffin Men are going to try and play upset. The key to victory for me for the Muffin Men is take a win in any way, shape, or form. Just get one win. If you can crack the defense in one way, you can do it multiple times. You could possibly get the win here, but they have to be able to get NRG off their groove because right now they have so much momentum behind them.
Yeah, a lot of it has to do with getting squishy going. They have a really tough time coming from behind. Every time that they've started strong and get pushed back, regaining that momentum has never been in their favor. They have plenty of tournament results that show that they can take the wins. They did it last week in Team Beyond Entertainment. They did okay. They tied that 3rd, 4th place spots in X Games. But every time they've had someone come and say, you know what, you're going to have to earn it, they haven't been able to close it out just yet.
Yeah, there's going to be a really close matchup because both of these teams have incredibly high-powered offense. NRG is one of only 2 teams to put in over 3 goals per game on average. Muffin Men is right behind them at 2.9. And so both of these teams very good on the offensive side, but the big difference maker has got to be that NRG defense. They're the top-rated defense here at DreamHack. They've allowed less than 1 goal per game on average.
Wow.
That's unbelievable.
My eyes are on Gimmick, though. You said Squishy, but I really feel like I would call him kind of the rookie of the field, honestly, coming in and playing against this NRG squad. They played them in community tournaments before, but when Gimmick was not a part of the offense in their yesterday qualifications match versus Gale Force, it was really hard for them to break out and score.
You mentioned top defenses. Where does G2 fall on that list?
G2 is in 3rd place. They allow 1.28 goals per game.
The American squad's dominating the stats right now. Good to see them there. Question also for you guys, NRG, I believe we're all predicting NRG to win this one, but my question to you guys, in how many games?
All the way for me, 5,
5?
I think. I think Squishy and Gimmick and Torment give them a run for their money.
It's tough because the reason why Muffin Men do such a good job on offense is because they're able to. And NRG is one of those teams that will not allow that. Their midfield defense is bar none some of the best we've ever seen because the rotations are so clean. And that's coming from people saying that on the EU side. And EU has the best defense, in my opinion, in Gale Force. So for them to say that kind of stuff about NRG, and NRG backs it up then as well with stats after they're playing everybody, like, I think Muffin Men are going to have a little bit harder time. I would say it goes in 4. I think it's going to be 3-1 for NRG.
So both of you predicting that NRG will actually drop their first game of the tournament in this match. What about you, Fickle?
I am also going to agree with the Chiefs here that it will go all 5 games. I've seen these 2 teams play before in community tournaments, and Muffin Men hold them pretty close, but I don't think they were able to ever, maybe not ever, I'll check that in a second, but we are in the very first game of Championship Sunday for DreamHack Atlanta 2017. NRG Esports versus the Muffin Men.
And let's see who moves on. It's a best of 5 here in the quarterfinals. Later on, we'll have best of 7s, but early on, some solid pressure being applied by NRG. Fireburner gonna get beat out. The first one off the post from Squishy Muffins, and it would have been a good start to the day for them here on Championship Sunday. The Muffin Men looking good early on as they're able to box in NRG for a couple of seconds.
When we saw the Muffin Men versus Hollywood Hammers, it was early pressure that really got them going in there. If they can get a goal within the first 2 minutes against this NRG squad, they hopefully will be able to carry that momentum. But man, NRG, I think they lead the stats in like almost every statistic of this tournament.
Yeah, they're definitely in the top runnings for a lot of those categories. That being said, all of my stats are from purely on-stream games, so take that with a grain of salt. But they have definitely been playing fantastic, as we've already said, undefeated throughout every match they've played so far. And Fireburner out of the midfield. Just over a minute of play elapsed. Demo attempt just going to run away. And slow roller off of the nose of Torment. Jacob just able to get a little bit of the car on it and keep it on this Muffin Men zone. This Fireburner applying the pressure. And Jacob has a lot of time and a lot of space to work with. Directly sideways wants to. That's a great pass out to the midfield. It's going to have to be Garrett G to come and get it. Squishy has other thoughts about it. Approaching 2 minutes. Torment's going to go off the back wall. Garrett right there to meet him. A solid read, not wanting to let the center opportunity go for free. Squishy gonna have to rotate out. Aggressive challenge. Fireburner towards Jacob, just able to tap it around. Hard off the back wall, went for the bump in the net, and thankfully NRG, the other 2 members, back grabbing boost.
Yeah, keys to offense for both teams. NRG are going to be looking towards Fireburner and Jacob to create space so that Garrett can shoot. He has been the MVP of the last 2 weeks, honestly, at the X Games and even at this event. I would love to know what his score differential is for goals for NRG. I know they've been putting up a lot, but how many have been coming from Garrett?
Garrett G has definitely put up a lot of numbers as we are at halfway. Jacob out towards the midfield. Fireburner just going to have to wait. Tap downfield from Gimmick. Gimmick and Squishy Muffins both contributing to over 20 of their over 30 goals throughout the games that we've seen on stream. So those guys, big offensive forces for the Muffin Men throughout the tournament so far. And a big demo in the net out of the NRG guy. Shot from Garrett G. Pass to Jacob, actually, in a well-defended play from the Muffin Men.
Yeah, and looking at the stats here, it is going to be Garrett G with 1.4 goals per game. And if you look at the other side, Jacob has 1.4 assists per game. So it's going to be the Jacob to Garrett G connection for NRG. But man, this is quite a defensive match for two of these high-powered offenses. No one has been able to break the goal.
NRG a little bit stuck in the side for a second. They will reset themselves. Tap downfield from Garrett G. Gets a little bit too far under the ball, and that'll give a chance for the Muffin Men to clear it out. So Jacob now out of the side. Tap off the back wall from Squishy. Wants to. Garrett G forced to watch, and very glad it didn't come through. Missed that one, the first one to Torment. They start off strong.
And Garrett G in a very tough defensive situation here. He has to pre-jump and think that Gimmick is going to take this shot. Gimmick actually plays it so intelligently up into the corner because Garrett G actually covered the angle that Gimmick probably wanted to shoot on, puts it off the backboard, makes Garrett G jump, and the Muffin Men are going to go up first versus NRG.
And Garrett G certainly in a very tough defensive position, as you noticed. Could only watch as Squishy Muffin's coming off the back wall and a long touch downfield. Gimmick's just going to wait for the clear, and we'll throw it right back into the mix. Well over the head of Jacob. Fireburner, actually a good pass downfield, a chance for Jacob to go and get it, but he needs the boost and has to turn away. Squishy Muffins patient out of the midfield. Challenge by Gimmick. Juan for the Muffin Men and a clear from Garrett G. The final minute ticking down here in game number 1. And wouldn't it be something for Muffin Men to start off so strong? It was Quinn and our personal block.
So close there for Jacob. Narrowly saved by Torment, and Torment had quite a few narrow saves as well yesterday. 40 seconds remaining for the NRG squad. Are they going to lose their first game of the tournament?
Delayed touch goes down. What a recovery from Squishy Muffins. Went to block the high touch, adjusted low. There's a shot to the top right. NRG equalized.
And in NRG fashion, they are not looking like they are going to drop this game. Tying it back up. Man, the dribble from Garrett G. It's becoming a little bit of a meta to take those air dribbles and just stay right behind it so that you either go under your opponent or you just block it from them, and that's exactly what Garrett G creates with that opportunity.
Kickoff for the Muffin Men, shut down immediately by the boys in blue. Garrett G out of the corner, a nice long clear, and Fireburner will just buy plenty of time for everybody to get back. Some solid possession play as Garrett G goes back into his own side, and Jacob will beat out an oncoming attacker. Fireburner, a slow shot towards the left side. No problem for Gimmick. He maybe wants to bump in the net. We'll just leave that one, and we could be looking at overtime to start off the day, and that actually might not be the case. Garrett G needs this touch. He missed it, and Gimmick takes the first one.
The Muffin Men are going to win game 1 at 0 seconds against the defensive misread from Garrett. He did not get that ball off of the backboard, and Gimmick is going to come slam it in. Already in game number 1, the Muffin Men hand NRG their first loss of DreamHack Atlanta, and they are up in the series.
We touted NRG's defensive capabilities. The matches on stream allowing under a single goal per game, and the Muffin Men find the back of the net twice and once at 0 seconds to move on to game number 2. And what a way to start today off, right, Fickle? My goodness.
And as we see in the crowd there, the NRG family cheering on their team out there. Two of their players actually are natives of Georgia, so really nice to see the families come out there. But they're rooting for NRG, but they are down right now. The Muffin Men looking cool and calm as a cucumber looking out there. I don't think I've ever seen Torment smile when he's on stage. Okay, all right. He can hear me. Show me those pearly whites.
Torment a little wry smile, and it actually started things off well for them. It took them just over 3 minutes to finally find the back of the net. Torment opening up the day for the Muffin Men. And what a run those guys have had throughout the entire tournament. We saw them first on stream back on day 1 versus the Hammers. They had a pretty solid series. That was our only game 3 versus them. And of course, in day 2, going up against Gale Force, lost to them, but took them to all 5 games. And then, of course, later on that day versus Myth. The Muffin Men have been a formidable force here in this tournament.
Yeah, and very surprising for them as well, coming out as probably their first big event as a team. The last time they played together with that roster, Lichinio was in place of Gimmick, and that was for their RLCS qualifiers, which they did not make. But now they picked up Gimmick and are looking to upset NRG, and that's going to go in right off of the kickoff. Again, the Muffin Men strike first.
And again, Torment, courtesy of Squishy Muffin. Squishy with so many assists back in day number 2, and he finds another one off the kickoff and a great shot to the lower left.
3 seconds into our match number 2. I believe that might be the quickest goal we've seen all tournament.
It very well could be. I wouldn't be surprised, as this one right across to Fireburner. We've talked about how important it is for teams to be able to use their teammates on their own half to clear the ball effectively, and NRG do just that as they've moved down onto this Muffin Men half the pitch. They try and copy it. Not quite the same execution level, and it takes them a few extra touches to get down, but NRG does give them the respect. The Muffin Men are on the offensive now. Challenge out to the top of the box. Torment to Gimmick, kept away by Garrett G. We talked so much about Garrett G's offensive capabilities. Gimmick in a dribble and a one-on-one, doesn't have the boost, and a cheeky little bump attempt from Squishy as well. And a slow roller going to be turned away.
Yeah, good on Jacob there for actually dodging the demo and getting the save as well. Torment and another save from Jacob. NRG trying to reclaim this lead. They are on the verge of being maybe one of the upsets of the tournament, as they're the clear favorite in this match. Muffin Men have been showing up so consistently in this tournament. And this format with the single elim is so devastating if you just lose one series. You're out for the entire tournament. No matter how well you played in days 1 and 2, it comes down to this. You have to perform.
Just missing the redirect with Squishy Muffins. We saw him hit that shot more than a few times as Torment finds the back of the net again.
Torment smiles on stage now that I've called him out, but that's 2 goals in a row for this, I would say, probably the most veteran player on the Muffin Men, the only player to play in an RLCS in an RLCS season on a starting roster.
Fireburner now out of the midfield, wants another one, and Squishy will tell him, no sir, not today. Pass towards the top of the box. That's a great setup. Jacob again in a tough spot. NRG have really been put in some very difficult defensive positions early on in this series, courtesy of the Muffin Men. And right now, the Muffin Men look poised to take a solid 2-0 lead in the series, as Jacob doesn't have the boost to work with, doesn't pick up the side boost either, and it's going to be a long drive back without it. Once again, relegating himself onto the defensive third for NRG. Jacob will try and clear this one away. Nice slow challenge. Gimmick, aggressive to try and keep it in the blue half. 1-2 touch, not quite coming through for NRG, but a brief respite as they now move on to the other side of the pitch.
I'm noticing that Jacob has spent a lot more time on defense in this series versus the Muffin Men. Usually, he is the player to streak downfield and look for those cherry pick opportunities to set up assists for his team. But he's been stuck back on the defensive side for so long, and they have not had any offensive opportunities.
Oh, not the best clear. We've already seen Jacob struggle with a poor clear earlier. Garrett G had to bail him out last time, and thankfully it's Fireburner the second time around, but cannot have those clear mistakes here on day 3 when every move is so important, as Torment makes a nice save for the Muffin Men. Gimmick on a dribble, big missed touch. Torment will just give way to Squishy behind him and wait patiently in the net. A demo from NRG. We've always talked about them being such a physical force, as Gimmick goes sideways, and Jacob is gonna have to try and reach this one. It's too high out of reach, no boost. And now it's a 2-on-2 for a while for the NRG crew until he gets back.
Time is dwindling down for this NRG roster, as they are yet to break the goal line in this series. They've only scored 1 goal in these last 2 games, and that's lower than the average of the entire tournament yesterday. They were able to put up at least, what was it, 3 goals per game?
Over 3,
like that?
over 3 on average on stream. As Fireburner forward, Torment off the back wall. As you said, precious seconds ticking down for the NRG crew. What a touch from Jacob. He's able to throw the Muffin Men for a bit of a loop, and they have to scramble back towards their own half. It's a decent pinch, but it should be easily defended. You do get the bumper on it, but Muffin Men, once again, no problem clearing it out. No boost for Squishy, just gets the touch against the ground off that corner of the Octane. Not quite on target, but NRG would really like to find the back of the net here. Later on, they get blocked by their own teammate. Here's their best chance towards the net, defended.
Yeah, very, very fortunate there for the Muffin Men, as that ball gets blocked back in by Squishy, but does not get scored for the squad of NRG. And Jacob going for Jacob Thinks, just misses the touch there, trying to pre-jump that as well. They're trying to get creative to get past this Muffin Men defense, which is surprisingly stalwart. Long
touch downfield from Jacob. Kept at bay by Gimmick. Final 30 seconds. NRG going to need a miracle if they don't want to go down 2-0, and that is not going to be it. Once again, the Muffin Men find the back of the net.
I believe that is the hat trick for Torment, as he has scored every single goal in this game and is carrying the Muffin Men probably to a 2-0 lead over NRG, maybe the favorites of the tournament. We might have
certainly the North
we might have
favorites.
whispers of an upset in our very first game of Championship Sunday.
Yeah, NRG certainly one of the North American favorites, no doubt. And there's one off the back wall for the blue team and kept away again by Torment. Now, you said Torment, he's put up the hat trick, but of course, Squishy Muffins. How often do we talk about the assist guy? He's got the playmaker medal for this one as well. Very heavily involved in game number 2. So this one off the back wall out in front, turned away, and that will do it for game number 2. Muffin Men will walk away. Do they get an extra one just for kicks? That is going to touch the ground. Muffin Men, a commanding 2-0 lead.
All right, NRG, they need to pull this off if they want to go on to the next stage of this tournament. This is only a best of 5. They lose one more and they're out of the entire tournament, even though they've been playing near perfect for the rest of these 2 days. If you don't bring it to Sunday, it doesn't matter.
Definitely the case. And of course, Muffin Men, Quinn, a fair portion of the desk chose Muffin Men as really their dark horse pick. And we definitely have reason to believe that here, as they have put one of the North American favorites on blast. Taking a quick 2-0 lead in the series, striking early, striking often. And really the most impressive part, shutting down that NRG offense, that team that scored over 3 goals a game, and that is not something to just ignore. Their defense must be respect.
If you think about their position now compared to where they were at the X Games, they were down 3-1 versus Gale Force, and they managed to make that comeback.
This is true.
NRG, no stranger to having to play from behind in a very clutch situation. I really hope they pull back this 0-2 loss and they come back into this to make it competitive. I would hate to see such a favorite of the crowd to just get decimated by the Muffin Men in the very first match of the day. But, you know, all kudos to Muffin Men. They're just really taking it to them.
They are definitely playing a beautiful game of Rocket League right now as both teams prepare to move into game number 3. NRG, of course, taking a few seconds to talk about things, and they've moved back to their old favorite, Urban Central, where for the longest time they remained completely undefeated on this map, and we'll see if it holds good luck for them here. They're gonna need 3 in a row if they want to advance onto the semifinals here of day number 3, the DreamHack Atlanta Rocket League Championship. As Garrett G punches one straight out to midfield, and who would else but Squishy and Torment?
The 50-50 legend loses a 50-50 downfield, and it's actually gonna go towards the middle of the net. I think that was it Fireburner that made the contest right there?
Off the sidewall?
Yes.
I'd have to check again, but either way, a good solid start once again for the Muffin Men early. 20 seconds, and they're on the board again.
Well, if history is going to repeat itself, Muffin Men scored first in the very first 2 games of this series, and they won. They've scored first again in game number 3. Is this going to be a 3-0 against NRG? Probably the favorite of everybody on the desk, including myself. I'm absolutely astounded by this result.
Difficult save for Torment. Long clear downfield by Gimmick, and the Muffin Men get to take a sigh of relief as that one quickly turned away. Tap over by Garrett G, but nobody there to follow up in a blue vehicle. Long clear downfield. And Muffin Men with this lead may be content to just hang out and make sure they don't allow anything through, as Fireburner very narrowly set up the chance. Slow touch from Squishy allows them to stay on the NRG half. And the Muffin Men really can just play prevent defense as this one slowly towards the NRG net. Long clear downfield from Jacob. This time around, Fireburner's got the boost to follow up straight sideways. Garrett G nowhere to be seen. Normally we see NRG so much more in sync with each other with those passes directly sideways to their players, and unfortunately this time around they get boxed into their own half a little longer. This time he's there, but it's over his head.
I think it was actually a little bit of a bump in the midfield that caused Garrett G not to be able to dive for that ball, but that was probably the best chance we've seen NRG all day. Garrett G has not been involved with any offense from NRG, and a near post shot goes off wide for the Muffin Men, almost trying to increase their lead twofold.
Gimmick with a solid setup, and what a blow to the NRG team it would have been, but they remain stalwart here in this game number 3. An elimination match for NRG. They need to win 3 in a row if they hope to move on. Winners of last week's X Games Invitational, a chance to go out here in the quarterfinals courtesy of the Muffin Men.
Nice save there from Gimmick. And this
1-2
might go all
touch.
the
That'll
way.
do it.
It does. Torment. This guy is absolutely popping off for Muffin Man. I think he's been involved in 4 out of the 6 goals they've scored so far. 5 out of the 7 goals. Torment, the veteran player on Muffin Men, looking to lead them into the charge to upsetting NRG, not even by a slim margin. This is a 3-0 scenario for NRG, and they are on the verge of being eliminated.
Touchdown field, Fireburner. Gimmick gets the bumper on it, throws it into the corner, and boy, does NRG need a goal really bad. They've been held scoreless for just over 13 minutes now. As Squishy, hard off the back wall, touch from Gimmick. Jacob needs this touch to go around. What a stall, and Torment will have to readjust. Hard off the corner, Garrett G wants to pass out to mid, well read by Squishy.
Really fortunate positioning there for Gimmick as well. He's able to gobble up that clear
1, 2,
right
3
on his
touch.
guard.
How about 1, 2, 3, 4? That'll do it. NRG finds the clear. They've got 2 minutes to work with. They still need to find the back of the net, though.
NRG, this is their last chance. Can Garrett G step up right now? He has to do it right here if they want to be in this tournament any longer. As the shot goes just wide, and they are not able to find it. Minute 45 remaining for NRG. Are they going to be eliminated? 3-0 sweep against the Muffin Men.
A good demo from NRG. Unfortunately, the follow-through shot just off target. Tap towards the top of the box. There is Fireburner. So really squared that ball up. It's a good setup from Jacob, but it's going to have too much pace as it just rolls over the top of the net. And Squishy going to waste time off this clock. Pick up the boost at a leisurely jog and say, come and get it if you want it. The Muffin Men waiting so patiently back on their own half. They don't have to take any unnecessary risk. Those risks that Quinn was talking about over the past few days that you have to take when you're behind. And NRG need to find a way to get through it.
Oh, this could be a chance.
Clear shot, dead center into there. They're down by 1.
Well, Garrett G has scored in the final minute of crunch time. NRG are still down, but if there was anybody to pull them back into this game, it is going to be that guy right there. Garrett G on your screen, looking focused. 1 minute remaining for NRG. Can they come back into this? They are on the verge of being eliminated for the entire tournament.
They've given themselves plenty of time to find a goal. It's a long clear downfield. Jacob has to waste a few more of those seconds off that clock that they desperately need more time with. There's 2, but Fireburner, hard touch off the corner, doesn't have a lot of height behind it, and it is easily defended. It's a race to this ball as Fireburner trying to demo. Squishy Muffins on the way out. Good pressure applied from Torment and Gimmick. The Muffin Men look to squeeze the life out of NRG here in game number 3.
Anxious eyes awaiting the results for this match. 20 seconds remaining, and NRG are still down. If they don't score right here in these last 15 seconds, they're done. It's over. Who would have believed it that the Muffin Men could have come out so strong against this veteran roster? 8 seconds remaining. Will NRG be eliminated?
Final 2. Can they do it? A missed touch. It's right at Fireburner. He has to defend the net. They slam it down. The Muffin Men take down the North American favorites. What a display. Squishy and Torment going absolutely off. They're excited. They get to move on. They have at least secured themselves $6,000. And NRG is going to have to walk home with a quarterfinals exit in 1.5.
I cannot believe it. Everything in the bracket has just been thrown into chaos as the Muffin Men clearly upset NRG in the very first match, and a 3-0 as well. They swept them. NRG hasn't even lost a single game in this tournament until now, and they lose 3 in a row. Absolutely ridiculous. I'm shocked, and I'm sure Waypunk and Lawler have something to say about it as well.
Upset City alert, Lawler. Who would have thought that this would have happened? We all thought NRG was going to have this one. I even said, I'm like, it's going to be NRG. It's just how many games is it going to take them?
Right.
And then 3 games is all it took for them to lose. 3 losses in a row, and the 3 that they could not afford to lose. There's no coming back from this one. Single LM, they are out. They are done. They will tie for 8th.
I think that's what summarizes Rocket League the best and why you have to watch every game.
Yeah.
Because if you don't, you're going to miss something. And we're like, okay, expectations, history backs it. stats back it, and it doesn't matter, Muffin Men 3-0. Like, what?
The mentality that you see that NRG came into today was just not where it needed to be against these Muffin Men. We were talking backstage about it. It felt like nothing they were doing was right. Like, they were losing 50-50s. They weren't demoing. They weren't passing. They weren't doing any of the things that we're used to seeing NRG do. And Muffin Men absolutely abused that, took advantage of it every way they could.
You have to give credit to Muffin Men, though. The ability for them to come out on stage after the lack of experience that they have compared to others, and then just assert dominance on offense. Like, NRG did not do anything in that midfield to counteract it. They just let it happen to themselves. And rather than being okay with making some riskier plays up in the middle, like, the mentality you have to have in a single elimination, like you're in or you're out, and that's it. And they just didn't do anything to counteract it.
Quinn, what do you think of NRG here? Like, is it just a mentality thing? What happened in this match?
I mean, this match, first off, credit has to go to Muffin Men. They played impeccably well. They really, I think they came into this with a game plan against NRG. We looked at NRG yesterday and at X Games, and we see that they had incredible pressure at all parts throughout the field, and that wasn't there today. Not only did they lack pressure in the midfield, but the rotations were just not working well today. There were a few times where I think Garrett G was once in the back, and it led to a goal actually against them. Problem is that they were hesitant. In Rocket League, offensive pressure is absolutely everything. It lets you dominate the game, lets you get boost control, and it really can be difficult for teams on the defensive if they're not level-headed to be able to deal with no boost and being able to defend under pressure. And Muffin Men were just interfering constantly, not letting NRG at any moment get the ball up the field without contesting them. And we would see sometimes 2 or 3, Squishy and Torment and Gimmick interfering with the play, and another player immediately lurking. There was very, very aggressive pressure, and it paid off well for them because NRG just didn't have a game plan to counteract it. They weren't able to adapt mid-series, and unfortunately for them, that's going to be the end of their run.
Yeah, I mean, to emphasize your point, so the clear moment he was talking about is there was a time when Garrett had the ability to move up and contest in the midfield to keep that pressure going, and he decided to back up, and then Jacob had to come from the other side of the field to come in and make up for it.
Yeah,
and
I think Jacob was behind him in the goal.
And it was already too late. And part of that was, in my opinion, is because Jacob needs to be involved in that offense and get that confidence, otherwise it's big trouble. And that may have been what they were trying. They're like, you know what, Garrett's going to double back, it'll be fine. They'll make it happen. But Muffin Men shut it down, and that's credit to Muffin Men.
Even in that situation where I think it was either Fireburn or Jacob who go up for the, I think we're talking about Jacob, goes up for the 50-50, loses it, but Torment loses control of the ball. The ball's up high, and then Garrett in the back still can't win it out. It turns into a pass into the midfield for Squishy to score. They ended up doing it in 3 games. Torment, what's the secret? What'd you guys eat for breakfast this morning? How'd you beat NRG in 3 games?
I'm not really sure. We just came out. We actually had no scrims before this. We just played some free play.
Wow.
And, messed around in some private match. We didn't really we didn't have anybody to scrim actually. There's nobody here yet really, or at least when we started, but I don't know, everything just kind of clicked. We were just hitting everything perfectly, at least how I thought, and I don't know, it just kind of worked.
Yeah, walk me through the mentality of the match, because obviously you guys come in with lots of respect for NRG. Everybody here had lots of respect for NRG, and we were all predicting like it's going to be at least a 5-game series or 3-1. If there's any chance that Muffin Men win, it has to be in 5 games. You guys do it in 3-0. Like, talk to me about about the mental game of going on and being like, wow, we're about to do this.
Well, definitely after we went through, and I think going into game 3 especially, we only gave up 1 goal. We felt really confident with our defense. We only had 1 defensive mistake, or maybe only a couple of defensive mistakes that really hurt us. And we just felt really confident when we were going for everything and making sure we could keep possession and get the ball out. And like I said, everything just worked.
Now, for me, it's really interesting to watch you guys because you guys are pretty composed the entire time. No matter how good or how bad things are going, you guys are just stalemate. Like, you don't do anything.
Yeah.
What's going on in comms to make you guys just like...
I mean, I think we're just incredibly focused.
Yeah.
That's all I got to say, really.
You guys
just focused.
Zoned in.
Yeah.
Don't let anything show until win or loss.
Yep.
A lot of focus there.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think you were definitely the MVP of that series, especially just the whole series. The best player on the field for me was you. And the reason for that was because you were everywhere on that field. It seemed like every time you touched the ball, you were able to at least put a shot on the net or get a solid interference play that lets your team get control in the NRG half. And was there ever a moment you guys seemed to be worried? Because I felt like you just won every 50-50 time and time again. I mean, NRG must have been getting frustrated. I think that you guys could sense that.
Yeah, I mean, we were kind of worried in the first game, which was really close. Obviously, we got the 0-second goal. Props to Gimmick for that.
Yeah.
He's insane. But yeah, we started not getting worried because we were winning everything, and we were really confident the whole time. That's all I got to say.
I think everybody owes you a handshake afterwards for knocking out NRG. This was the big team that everybody was afraid of here, and you guys now move into the semifinals, into the top 4. You're going to face off against the winner of Flipside versus G2. So first question is, who do you think will win that match, Flipside or G2?
That's really tough. It's obviously gonna be close. I think G2 will take it, but it could go either way, definitely. But yeah, I think G2.
A follow-up: who would you rather face?
And why?
And that's really tough too. I guess G2 because I'm more familiar with them.
Okay.
Scrimmed them a lot and played them a lot in tournaments.
Yeah, man. Okay, well, fantastic job. Well done. The single elimination bracket, NRG is done here. You guys move on. Fantastic to see the upset in the 3-0 sweep. Could not believe it. I've already asked you this twice because you've been here up before, but any shout-outs you got before I let you go?
I do have some new shout-outs.
Oh, yeah.
Gibbs said I had to shout him out if we beat NRG, so shout out to Gibbs. Also, shout out to everybody who supports us throughout this tourney and whatever on social media or whatever, so shout out to them too.
Fantastic. Awesome. Gibbs finding a way to get on the broadcast even when he's not here.
Forcing people to do it if they win upsets.
Exactly what he does there. Fantastic job. Well done, Torment. Good luck on the semifinals. Hope to see you in the finals. Good to see you there.
Thank you.
Awesome stuff there. Guys, fantastic match. Who would have thought that this is what would have happened? When we come back, Flipside and G2, a rematch of the Season 1 Grand Finals. Cannot wait to see this storied rivalry continue here. Kronovi versus Marky Duda. Who will take it? Who moves on to DreamHack? We'll find out after this.